Welcome back, viewers. How's everything been in your world? Mine's been fantastic. I've been out on the road talking to women all over the industry about staying in technology. And today, I'm very excited to have my dear friend Preeta join me. And we're going to talk a little bit about how do you get to the next level of leadership. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to dig right in and introduce Preeta to you. So Preeta, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Hi, folks. I'm Preeta Chandra, and I used to work in Janet's group, and now I'm not. But I'm very close. Janet's in sales, and I'm in marketing, and I'm in enterprise marketing, generating demand for our sales teams.
And doing a great job. And happy that we're still mentoring because you
Yes.
never leave Team Shines. We know everybody has the hoodie.
Never.
All joking aside, to my viewers, I actually believe that. So just a little kind of tip for anybody who's looking for or being a mentor. Once you're in somebody's organization, you should always be part of their team, and you should go to them for help, and they should be able to come to you for help. And that's how you keep that network expanding, expanding, expanding. Don't lose touch with the people that you've worked with and loved, like Preeta. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about, how can I help? What's going on? What do we need to make our session about today?
So I was thinking, what are the leadership skills that people like me need to acquire or showcase? Because there are skills that we have, but not necessarily we show to get to the next level.
And you're sure skilled. I mean, gosh, you run our Spice group here for Verizon, which is an employee resource group. Does an unbelievable job engaging with our executives. If anybody's read the recent publicity around Marnie Walden, our own rock star technologist. Marnie has been at Spice meetings talking to women about innovation. So you're certainly great at getting your brand out there, which was something we had talked about previously, and you've done an amazing job getting the
You.
Prita brand out there. Faces before logos, my friend.
All the tips from Janet.
Well, I get a lot of help. So if I think about the skills, I think there's 5 critical skills that you want to work on beyond the competency in your job. And by the way, everybody always thinks it's about the competency in your job. And newsflash, that's what we pay people for. We pay you to do your job. And I'll have people come to me and say, but I did 125% against my goal. Okay, so you were just better at your job than some other people were, but that's your job. So I love this question. I love that you're coming to me because it shows you're ready for the next level. So the first thing is an exquisite communication skill, and I think you've demonstrated this. I've watched you speak. Somebody said the other day you were a mini Janet when you were speaking. I was like, oh, that's fun. So I was very proud of you for that. And so I think that's the first thing. The first thing is working on your executive communication skills, and that's really something as a manager that sometimes you have very good tactical communication skills, but executive communication skills really come to what result are you driving and what's the outcome. So if we think about it from a standpoint of your current job as a manager, you would talk about how many leads did you generate.
Correct.
As a leader, you would talk about the P&L impact, the revenue, hey, they were declining at 7%, but now they're increasing at 3%. And if I do this for the rest of the base, what does it do? So that's the communication difference. But there's a second kind of double click on that. The second part is that managers read you the whole news story, and leaders read you the headline, just the headline, nothing but the headline. And then their audiences say, well, tell me more. That sounds fascinating. So you've got to look at what you're communicating, probably a lot of results. What's the headline for that you want to start consistently communicating about you, your results, and your team, and the impact? And I see it with your team. Your team is skipping to work because you're a great leader. How do you bring that to where we're doing demand generation, but we're making it fun kind of headline? And then if I think about it, those are 2 communication things, but there's also a skill around delegation. So I want to talk a little bit about delegation. First of all, how do you feel about delegation?
I think it is very important to delegate because if we end up doing all of the work, we get exhausted and we're not doing justice to the people who report into us or who are working with us because they need to develop as well. Just like you develop people under you and around you, I think delegation is very, very important.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. So many managers think if they delegate, someone's going to think they're not doing their job. And in fact, they are actually doing their job. And the difference between a manager who delegates and a leader who delegates is really critical. Here's the tip. So delegating tasks is probably where you are at your current level. You want to start delegating results. So you want to change the conversation. Not to, I want you to get 100 more leads, or I want you to get 50 more of this, or I want you to get this program done by this date, but I want you to put a plan together this is who you're delegating to, that will achieve this result. I'm going to hold you responsible for the result. I am delegating the result to you. That's a difference of a leader versus a manager. So it's just a change in the microscope, right? So as assumed as saying, oh, I want you to do this campaign, I need it done by this date. It's now, I need you to hit this revenue number. And you let them prescribe, because they'll be the manager and you'll be the leader, how they're going to hit that result. It's a tough skill, because at first you'll feel like you're not giving people enough guidance. And what if they do something wrong? But how else will you find your backfill if you don't do this?
Absolutely, yeah. And they understand the whole vision. They connect the dots, and they use their own creativity, and that works perfect.
She's
Awesome.
advanced
Great
course
tip.
networking and mentoring and everything, by the way, just so that you know. So then the other two things that I want to talk about are external brand and connecting with the right people. And they're a little bit interlaced. And I find that what happens is the better we get at things, sometimes the more internal we get. So how long have you been with us at Verizon now?
5 years now.
5 years. Good amount of time. By the way, it makes her somewhat new in some circles in the industry, right? A lot of people stay at Verizon a long time because it's a great place to be. But what happens is we begin to constrict our external network. Sometimes I play this little game when I'm on LinkedIn. I'll look up somebody and I'll see how many contacts do they have, connections do they have that are outside their own company. And you've got to ask yourself that too. If everybody that likes your post on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter is somebody you work with, or worse, somebody you pay to work with you, like a supplier or a vendor, then you're not popular, you're pandered to. And that's not a circle that's going to help you, right? That's not a circle of connections. I was talking earlier today, actually, with my friend Fumbi, who is the CIO of Burberry, and we were talking about just that. How do you go and work externally, talk externally, have a reputation externally that helps all the women in technology, but also helps you, so that when it comes time to go out to that expert, you have those connections. You have that natural ability to pick up a phone or DM somebody and have that conversation. So those external relationships are so important. So what I do is I play like almost like a little bingo with myself, and I take a grid and I kind of like this, and I say, what expertise do I need to connect with, and then what influence do I need to connect with. And there's some people with very high expertise but low influence, right? And I still want to be with them, but very high influence and maybe lower or higher expertise. And I fill in names every month that I want to make friends with. And then once I make friends with them, I make sure that I'm giving value to them and they're giving value to me, but I continue to build that circle onward and onward and onward. And some of my favorite friends I've collected recently in the digital world, John Nosta, who was just made one of the top 10 hit. It's a health and insurance technology event. He was unanimously voted to the top. He has tens of thousands of followers online, but he also is somebody that whenever I want to talk about healthcare, when we're doing a healthcare campaign, I can pick up the phone or email him or DM him or even just shoot him a Facebook message, which is turned into our preferred methodology, and he'll get right back to me with a great idea, with a great insight, with something that helps me be smarter, and as he says, helps him be more fun.
Yes.
So you've got to start thinking about to get to the next level of marketing leadership. And I think you could be a CMO someday. That's my goal, my dream for you, right? Maybe I can work for you before I retire. That would be super fun. I would love that. That's my dream, by the way, for my viewers, is that I will work for someone I mentored before I retire. So I've got a bunch of years before I retire, but you know, it's wide open. Let me know whoever wants that to happen. So once you get that crowdsource kind of together, your, good old boy and girl network. Then the other thing is to really think about what are the right people. So it's one thing to have the right network, but then there's a handful of people that are going to influence your career. Either they're here at Verizon or they're outside Verizon. Could be a customer, could be a big customer, right, who you develop a relationship with so that you're the natural choice for something that regards to that customer. Or it can be somebody here at Verizon, but you've got to put together the people that would be sitting at the table. And I actually draw an imaginary table. So that's going to be your task for the next time we get together. Is I like to draw an imaginary table. In the middle of the table, I like to put all the skills that I think people would have to believe I brought to the table, right? So this is the bring it to the table moment, right? So what skills would I need to bring to the table for my next level job? And then who would the people be around that table who would be the most natural person that the hiring manager would ask, does Janet, in this case Preeta, have those skills? So let's say your leadership skills that you knew you needed were executive communications and revenue through marketing and social digital media results and so on and so forth. Who would they ask? Who would they ask if you had that skill? That's the right people that you need at the table. Some of them may be external. They may be our agency.
Right.
They may be a customer. Some of them will be internal. They'll be a VP of comms. They'll be a VP of marketing. They'll ask that person, do you have the skills? And so your job is to get those skills and then get them on the table in front of those people. So those people see you demonstrate those skills. So when that moment comes and they're sitting around the table, they all sponsor you for the role.
Perfect.
So that's what I want you to work on for our next session. What do you think?
Awesome. I think that's a brilliant idea because this will be self-reflection. I will understand. I'll do my SWOT analysis, which I've done. I think it has been 6 months now. I have to revisit it.
Yes, you do.
So I'll do that and then identify the people. Okay, so that's a great
That's
homework.
great. And so I would love to see your SWOT updated. Your one-page career plan should get updated at the same time then. If you don't have the template anymore, let me know. I'll resend it to you. And viewers, that's for you too. I've got a one-page career template I do. Very successful. It's a precursor to mentoring with me. So we'll make sure that we include that in my LinkedIn profile so you can just go right there and get that. And then once you do that, just draw out that table. What skills do you have to bring to the table and who's sitting around that table for our next time? Because what then I want to do is go skill by skill, make sure I agree that those are the skills you need. Because there may be something that you weren't thinking of. One of the things people typically miss is budgeting. Budgeting and P&L really tends to be something that we forget to put on that table. We'll finish your table and then we'll really put your number 1 and number 2 sponsors. And then I want to make a plan for you to meet them, get to know them the same way we got you to know our CIO and Marnie and others to make sure you continue to expand your influence. So
Excellent.
what a great session today. Any other questions for me?
That's it for today. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. And remember, to my viewers, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It makes it easier to make sure you get the updates and connect with me on Twitter at Channel Smart and on LinkedIn, obviously, with Jenna Chines. Thanks, guys.